This is The Locker Room, where the coaches of Husson University talk sports.
Hello everyone, I'm your host Bryan Sidelinger, and this is The Locker Room, the show that introduces you to the coaches and athletes of Husson University. On today's show, we're pleased to be joined by Husson baseball coach Jason Harvey. Coach, thank you for joining us. Can you give us a little background about yourself and your roles here at Husson for those who may not know?
Absolutely. Originally from Bucksboro High School, about a half hour away from here. Smaller setting, high school. Came here to Husson, play baseball, basketball. Spent my freshman year here, and then decided to go up to the University of Maine. Tried out a year of baseball out there. Really enjoyed the baseball side of things. Academically struggled. Ended up coming back down here, which was a perfect fit for me academically and athletically, and picked up baseball and basketball again. Played a year of golf, and was lucky enough to be in the right spot at the right time when I graduated and got offered the head coaching position here at Husson for baseball, and obviously accepted with open arms, and here I am right now. And then within the last 4 years, I moved down to the athletic department and took on the assistant athletic director position with in charge of facilities and some game event management things as well. So my plate's pretty full.
Yeah, it sounds like it is. I want to get to baseball. 10 days ago, you were in Florida for your annual spring trip, and I want to get back to that trip in a few minutes.
Sure.
But you come home from the trip, and 48 hours later, we get a blizzard. And that leaves enough snow on the ground that you have to have your games this weekend postponed. What's your frustration level like after sort of having your season get going and then have it stall out a little bit? And what do you do from a procedural standpoint to keep the players ready to go when you finally do get back on the field?
Well, obviously it is frustrating. You know, I think anytime you start playing, you want to continue playing games and being outside. You know, being in the Northeast, this isn't the first time this has happened. You know, it's almost a yearly occurrence for us. So, you know, obviously the experience that I've had with this situation's kind of helped us and kind of help our team as far as getting ready. Great thing is obviously we have some good facilities. Obviously having 2 turf fields on campus. Maintenance crew does a phenomenal job plowing them when they can. Allows us to get out much sooner than most teams would. The other place that we have is Sluggers Indoor Baseball Softball Training Facility over in Brewer, which we utilize a lot. And that's really allowed us to continue to practice at a high level. You know, the big thing obviously is your pitchers and hitters getting live looks and live reads, and that's our main focus at this point in time, is making sure they get enough of that to kind of maintain where we are and carry forward. You know, I think our biggest job is probably talking to the guys mentally about where they are and where we want to continue to be, and really not have a kind of a letdown or a lapse there mentally, because I think that's our biggest challenge is mentally keep these guys ready and eager to play with a lot of snow on the ground. It's a full-time job, there's no question.
Yeah. I want to get back to the trip. You went 3-4 on the trip. It's an annual trip, so you make it every year. What would you say are, other than getting on the field and just getting to play some baseball finally, what would you say are sort of the biggest positives that you take away from this Florida trip?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is finding out who guys are. You know, we do a good job when we recruit guys and understand that, you know the type of player that we have, the type of person, but you get to see them in a totally different element. You know, you're with them there, you know, 24 hours out of the day pretty much for the most part for a full week, and get to experience that is really a good testament for the type of player that we have. And on the field, obviously it gives us a chance to evaluate guys in a tough situation. You know, we're a team that usually comes down, and sometimes the first time we're outside is when we are down south, and having some of those new guys come in and play for us gives us a really good chance to evaluate them and see what they're capable of, and kind of continue to move forward in that sense.
And what would you say are the biggest challenges? I mean, that's quite a trip to go from Maine to Florida and take an entire baseball team. It must present some different challenges that you deal with on a year-to-year basis.
Yeah. It does. You know, I think there are probably more small challenges. You know, I think every one of our guys is excited to go on that trip. You know, when you're inside and you're cooped up in a building for 6 weeks of indoor practices, guys are eager and itching to get out. Yeah. So the challenges are small. Obviously, juggling. You know, making sure guys get some good quality innings, pitching wise. Making sure our position guys are getting good ABs. Evaluating guys who we want to see evaluate. So those are our biggest challenges that we have.
Mm-hmm. You were picked to finish second in the coaches poll this year in the North Atlantic Conference behind Castleton. Castleton is a team that you lost to in the conference championship last year. You have 21 guys returning to a team this year. Does that add any extra motivation for you? I mean, to have a team full of guys picked to finish behind the team that just beat you again?
Sure, I think it always does. Anytime you don't win that last game in the conference championship, I think that's an important part, is making sure guys are ready to play. And looking back at last year, when you lose the championship game, guys are hungry. Your returning guys are hungry. So, I think it adds a little bit of fuel to the fire when you are picked second. But in reality, right now, that's where we are. We haven't proved that we're able to beat Castle last year, and they should be front. And our guys understand that, but having them, come in with a mindset, we got to work every day hard to put ourselves in a position to get back to that conference championship.
Sure. Okay, Coach, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'd like to talk to you a little bit just about you personally, and we'll get into some of that stuff if that's okay. So we'll take a break, and when we come back, we will be still joined by Coach Jason Harvey.
Everywhere that we go, he makes people laugh and makes people smile, and I feel like I have that quality.
He's the one who always takes me fishing.
I watch golf with him.
I watch him cook, because when I grow up, I want to be a cook too.
We have the same faces like this.
Dad is the one, when you fall, that picks you up.
That unconditional sense of presence and reassurance is really what makes him my father.
And welcome back to the Locker Room. I'm your host, Bryan Sidelinger. We're pleased to be joined by Husson's baseball coach, Jason Harvey. Coach, thank you again for joining us. You played and coached under John Winkin, who's synonymous with Maine baseball. And when you got your start, you were slated to be the assistant coach to him, and he had to step down for health reasons, and you sort of got thrown into an interim position, and then you led that team to an NAC final. Did you at that time sort of think, coaching's actually pretty easy, this isn't so bad, and here you are 10 years later still doing it?
I would say nothing's easy, for sure. I think the biggest thing, the biggest challenge when I did get when I was named interim, the biggest challenge for us was I played with a lot of those players. So continue to gain their respect from a captain now to a coach's side was probably the biggest challenge. It took a while. Obviously, we started off very rough that year. And as the season went, we grew as a team. They started to kind of believe in the things that I was putting in, and our coaching staff was putting in, I should say. And by the end of it, we were in a position to compete for a conference championship. And if you would ask me that question at the beginning of the year, if we would have been in that position, I would have said there was no chance. We were young, we weren't very talented, but by the end, we were pretty solid.
Sure. You grew up in Bucksport, Maine. Obviously, as you said, you went to Husson. You were a three-sport athlete here. You did a year at UMaine. Now you're the head baseball coach here at Husson University. What does it mean to you to be able to grow up here, stay here? Did you ever think at any time growing up maybe you'd like to go somewhere else, check out something else, or have you always really enjoyed being here?
I'm a Maine guy. You look at my roots that I grew up in. We're a very tight-knit family. I think that's one of the biggest things that attracted me to Husson in the first place was how small it was and how close the teams were. And really the campus is, and that really drew me here. And now that I'm a part of it, I don't see myself going anywhere. My wife's a Northern Maine girl, like the county girl they call them.
Sure.
And she's not going anywhere for sure. And then we love the area. We love what Bangor has to offer. It's got a great school system. The two kids, we don't see a better place growing up our family.
Mm-hmm. Coach, a lot of people don't realize that as well as being a baseball standout and a basketball standout while you were here, and you mentioned it earlier, you were also you were a member of the golf team while you were here, and that golf team that you were on for that 1 year won its first of 8 straight North Atlantic Conference titles as well. Do you, I know it's Maine and we have snow on the ground right now, so it might be a little funny to be talking about golf, but do you get to play much golf in the off season?
I do, yeah. my whole family loves it. My wife loves it. My 2 kids love it. So that's my excuse to kind of get out. I'll take the boys out for an afternoon round and play 9 holes and can get away with it pretty easily. But we play quite a bit. We join up at Penobscot Valley Country Club up in Orono. And it's a good time. I tell you, golf's probably the most humbling sport that I've played, and it's taught me a lot of things. And the great thing is, looking at my 2 kids, being able to teach them that sport as well. We want to do it as much as possible. So, yeah, the game's pretty sharp.
Sure. What are you carrying for a handicap right now?
I'm a scratch.
You're a scratch. Is that an honest handicap?
That's an honest handicap.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good handicap.
Yeah.
It's better than me. So you've won multiple conference titles as a player, also as a coach. You are a Husson University Hall of Famer. 10 years, going on over a decade now, as the Husson baseball coach, very successful. You're the 2nd most winningest baseball coach in program history. Honest question. Is there anything that you're not good at that you know of?
I'm sure there is. My ping pong, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm not great.
You're reaching here, though, aren't you? You're reaching here.
I like to compete. I think that's the biggest thing. Whatever it is, whether I'm playing cards with my wife or if I'm, playing 3-on-3 pickup in the gym, I'm a competitor. I hate to lose. So
sure.
I think that's my drive to be the best I can be at whatever it is in front of me.
Sure. Sure.
So that's a little bit motivation for me.
Cool. Coach, well, thank you very much for joining us. That's all the time we have for right now. When we come back, we will go over our Husson Athletes of the Week.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Everywhere that we go, he makes people laugh and makes people smile, and I feel like I have that quality.
He's the one who always takes me fishing.
I watch golf with him. And
I watch him cook, because when I grow up, I want to be a cook too.
We have the same faces like this.
Dad is the one, when you fall, that picks you up.
That unconditional sense of presence and reassurance is really what makes him my father.
And welcome back to the Locker Room. I'm your host, Bryan Sidelinger. Before the break, we were pleased to be joined by Husson baseball coach Jason Harvey. We now turn our attention and congratulate our Husson Athletes of the Week. For the men, Francesco Wright got the honor after breaking his personal and school record in the pole vault. Wright and his teammates became the first men in Husson's outdoor track and field program to qualify for the Division III New England Championships. And for the women, Alana Ray got the honor after winning 4 out of 5 games during the softball team's trip to Florida. Healy averaged a 0.5 ERA through 17 strikeouts and only gave up 5 walks and 4 runs. That's all the time we have for this episode of The Locker Room. We would like to thank Jason Harvey for coming on the show today. You can follow The Locker Room on Twitter at lockerroom_TV. If you'd like to watch this episode or any previous episode again, go to our NESCom journalism channel on YouTube. You can catch the next edition of The Locker Room next Monday. For everyone working hard behind the scenes, I'm Bryan Sidelinger. Have a great rest of your day.